and welcome to Layers of Living Water. What a privilege it is to be able to share another story with you today as we learn life lessons together. Today we're going to talk about a family and what they did and how they learned to make better decisions. And I hope after you hear the story, we'll all have a better way to move forward in life. So the story goes like this. There was a family that had been working rather hard. The whole family had been doing all they could to keep their head above water and keep moving forward. They said, man, we really need a break. We really need some time off. So they decided they were going to take a little camping trip. They loaded everything up, made their plans, and off they went. So they found a beautiful campsite beside a lovely lake. They set up, got everything ready, and they were all getting ready to sit down. And the mother looked around and said, well, I'll make us a little something to eat. The mother decided that she was going to make a big pot of spaghetti for the evening. Upon the camp stove, she took a nice big pot, put the water in it, turned on the heat, turned around to do some other things. Lo and behold, when she turned around, a frog had jumped into her pot. Well, the lady didn't want to touch the frog. She was a little puzzled about why the frog had jumped into the pot to begin with. So she said, I'll just leave it alone for a minute and possibly the frog will just jump out. Now, of course, she'd have to dump out the water and start all over again, but she really didn't want to touch the frog. But guess what happened? That frog did not jump out of the pot. It stayed right in the pot, and you can imagine the water was getting warmer because the fire was heating up the water. But the frog just stayed swimming around in the water. Now, the interesting fact about the frogs is that their body temperature has the ability to adjust to water temperature within certain parameters. There is a point where it gets too cold or there is a point where it gets too hot. So the frog found himself in the water, and we can only guess what the frog was thinking. You can imagine the frog said, hey, this feels pretty good. It's much warmer than the water in the lake. I'll just stay in here for a while. You see, the frog knew that his body had the ability to equate to the water temperature. The water got a little bit warmer. The frog still wasn't worried. He said, hey, everything's fine. I'm going to be okay. Then the water got to just before the water was about to boil. And the frog said, oh no, I need to jump out of here. It's about to get too hot. Well, guess what? The frog waited too late. The frog was unable to jump out of the pot. The water temperature had gotten too hot. The frog was unable to make his muscles do what he wanted them to do. Now you may be watching today and you may be thinking, what in the world does my life have to do with a frog jumping in a pot of water? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because you see, in life, we make decisions all the time. And sometimes we make a decision and we head down a path as the frog jumping in the pot. Then we begin to see or feel things that we know aren't quite exactly right. You may be saying to yourself, oh, that's okay. I'll be all right. At any time, I can make a change. I can make things different. You may be saying to yourself, I have plenty of time because I've experienced something like this before. But you see, my friend, you may be like the frog. You may feel there's safety, but the reality is you're going to reach a point. You're going to pass the point of no return, as did the frog. I don't want that to happen to you, for you see there is a better way to do things. And that is, first of all, it is best to do it on the front end. Before you make a decision, you do your best to look as far as you can down what you think will happen. Now let's be real. Life doesn't always go the way we think it will. Life doesn't always bring us the situations that we think will happen. Sometimes things come unexpectedly and we will deal with them, and you can deal with them. But there are those times that you get in a situation and you feel like, man, I really shouldn't be here. I really shouldn't continue on this path. I really shouldn't keep doing what I'm doing. When that happens, my friend, you need to quickly make a change and get out of that situation. You need to quickly do something different. For you see, when you begin to think that, your mind, your body is telling you this is not going to end well. So don't just tell yourself, oh, I'll be okay. I'll just sit here. I'll endure it. I can put up with it. I can make a change whenever I want to make a change. Now, you, my friend, may be dealing with today a problem, a habit, something you've got yourself into that you wish you were not doing. And let me tell you, the longer you keep doing something you know you shouldn't be doing, the harder it's going to be to get out of it. Until one day a problem, a situation is going to get to the point that unfortunately you've passed the point of no return. Unfortunately, you may be then like the frog. You may have dealt with things in the past. You may have almost come to the line and then you were able to get out of it. But why would you do that to yourself? Why would you continue putting yourself in a position where you know at some point in time you're going to end up in a place you don't want to be? For you see, my friend, we have two options. We can, at the beginning, as you begin to look down life's path, you can make a decision. You can look at that path, assess everything, and decide what you're going to have to deal with. Will you know everything? Absolutely not. Will things come up that you didn't know were going to? Well, sure they will. But the reality is, if you look at a life path and you look at a situation, a way you want to go, and you see, I'm not really comfortable with that, then make a decision on the front end not to go that way. Why would you put yourself in a position to where something could happen that you can't get out of? So you see, first and foremost, we make a decision, don't head down a path you know you shouldn't go. And hey, if you're that person that has found yourself on a path, are dealing with a problem, dealing with a habit, dealing with something you know you should not be, make a decision today and say, before I get too far, I'm going to change what I'm doing. I'm going to correct the path that I'm on. For you see, unfortunately, human beings, we have the way of thinking that, oh, I'll deal with it another day. I can let it go. It will all be okay. My friend, you know inside, you feel in your heart, no, it won't be okay. So make that decision today. Get out of that situation. Start doing things differently. If you begin today, you will put yourself on a much better path. Remember, my friend, you don't want to be like the frog in the pot. You don't want to end up in a situation to where nothing can be done. Make that decision today, and if you do, you will and can turn your life around. Thank you for listening to Layers of Living Water today. Please make sure to follow me so you can be the first one to receive the new weekly videos as they come out.